by Gail. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Deb.
And tonight we're talking about influencer marketing ethics. So, a little twist on the topic of influencer marketing, but sort of the responsibility, I shouldn't say sort of, but the responsibilities and the ethics that come along with being an influencer. So, got some interesting answers, some that I would expect, but let's start with I love the answer you gave to the getting to know you better question. The question was, who do you think of when you think of influencer? And Gail, your answer was,
Right, Tony Robbins. And your question back to me was surprising because he was so famous as an author. I figured you knew who Tony was. And he's still famous as an author, but also for some huge events that he has all the time.
oh, no, I know who Tony Robbins is. I was just wondering if you had, people will say, hey, I grew up on a farm. We didn't have anything, eight people slept in one bed or, that kind of,
Oh,
how
that
we're talking
kind of
about
that
storytelling.
kind of
Well, yeah,
backstory. Okay, well,
yeah.
I don't remember. If I knew it, I don't remember it. I might have known it, but he's been around since before I went to work for IBM in 1977. Uh-oh, it's raining.
Does that mean that affects your internet connection sometimes?
Yes, it can.
Okay, so if you disappear, it's not like, "Oh, I don't wanna talk anymore, and I'm just disappearing on you." It's a
Right. I
weather
didn't
related.
expect it to be raining. It's had a small chance of rain all day, but nothing, no rain. So,
Well, we'll know if you disappear, we'll assume that you were healthy and safe. It's just the
right,
internet connection. Okay,
right.
right. Um, yeah, I shouldn't say it's surprising because there are people in this world that their time is short. I'm thinking of like, Keith Green, wonderful musician, but I think he died before he was 30. And I sometimes I think and totally different. I mean, he was an influencer, definitely in his category. He was an influencer as far as music and so forth. But would he still be just as much of an influencer had he still been alive today? And then there's people like Tony Robbins that wow, I mean, he's still going strong, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's got millions of followers on X.
So it's like how do they do that? How do they keep getting more and more people interested? Or do you think it's new followers that are like, "Wow, who's this guy? I've never heard of him. Let me follow him and he's
Um,
got new stuff to say," or
well, it's obviously got to be new people and original people, but
right.
he helps people. He's very popular. His events are very popular. His books are probably still bestsellers, even the ones from the 70s. And so, right, when you have that body of work behind you, you're going to stay popular, right?
Right, right. He also his presentation style, I was always very impressed with the way he that confidence, that take charge, and that ability to just really grab his audience.
Right. Well,
But he still
that's what
shows
he
that
teaches.
sensitivity, the empathy. Hmm?
Right. And he backs good causes, right?
Mhm.
And so, it's a combination of things. What he teaches, the interest that people have in it, the kind of things that he supports, it's a little bit of everything.
Which right there, you define like at least half, if not three quarters, of the definition of an influencer. Because I mean, some of it, sometimes it's, for instance, you could be an influencer. Princess Diana was an influencer because she married into the royal family. And then she became some of the other things as far as the definition. But I mean, sometimes it's you're an influencer because of your station in life, if you will, your authority.
Well, there's entirely too many people that are famous for being famous, and that's not a good thing. But, it's better if people aren't famous for being famous,
Mhm.
honestly.
Now, what about just in case we get cut off? I was going to save this till later, but just in case we get cut off sooner. What about those who? Well, I'll just jump to it. But as far as the authenticity of being an influencer, I'm trying to remember how you worded it in your tweet. I think you said
Well,
something about if they're not honest, you know.
I just said honesty. So hopefully everyone realizes that actors and actresses and other people get paid for endorsements. And hopefully they realize that, you know, you can't always tell. The bigger they are, the more likely this is that they were paid millions of dollars to endorse X. That does not necessarily mean they think X is wonderful or they use it or anything else. It may only mean that they got paid a lot of money to endorse it. And so if you're famous, like a celebrity, you can kind of probably get away with that. If you have enough followers, you can get away with that. But if you're a smaller influencer like Miss Eileen, if Miss Eileen were not honest and she was recommending things she didn't really like or she had never used, or if you're going to recommend something you've never used, you should say, this has new, this might be useful. I haven't personally used it yet. So you're recommending it in a way, but you're not saying, I love this thing, everybody should run right out and buy it. You have to be honest, right? And entirely too many influencers of the famous celebrity type are not honest, right? They can't be. You know that they basically recommend whatever somebody pays them the most money to do, right? It's kind of like, okay, it's just like affiliate marketing. In the affiliate marketing world, there are, like, let's take hosting companies. There are websites that actively test hosting and they see how fast it is. They measure the downtime. They check to see how responsive they are. These are real sites, and those affiliates deserve the commissions that they earn. But there are entirely too many affiliate sites that are, these are the top 3 hosting companies. And if you have some wisdom, you know that they are recommending the 3 hosting companies that pay the largest commissions. It has nothing to do with the quality of the hosting. You should not listen to them. They're not being honest. But there's a whole lot of people on the internet that don't know anything about affiliate marketing and won't have any idea that those sites are, basically just shills for whoever pays the most.
And that's sad. That is truly sad that they care more about filling their pockets than being honest.
Well, it's harder than ever to make money as an affiliate,
Mhm.
and that's kind of the shortcut to making money because a lot of hosting companies pay, recurring commissions. And so it's not necessarily, people just have to be aware. This is buyer beware, basically.
Yeah.
And even let's say that someone is sincere. They used something, they really love it, they recommended it. That's not to say that a year down the road that something isn't what it used to be. And so we have to be careful not to judge people when it's not their fault, right? It's just like if you're recommending someone for their services. You've used them before, they did a wonderful job for you, you recommended them, and then things blow up. The person you recommended them to probably shouldn't really blame you because things happen, right?
Mhm.
They did wonderful with you, but now they've had a heart attack and they're in and out of the hospital. And through no fault of their own, they just can't do what they used to do. So we had to be aware. You had to be aware, was it a sincere recommendation? Did they actually use them? If you take recommendations from someone who has never actively worked with someone else, that's kind of iffy right there, right? The only way you really know if somebody's really great is if you've hired them and they delivered. And even
Mm.
then, like I said, things can change. And so recommendations and influence should not mean don't do buyer beware, don't do your own research. Whatever you hear, you still have to do your own due diligence.
Good point about the heart attack. There's this gentleman that is sort of mentoring me just a little bit, and he normally has just stellar support. And there was this new product, and I'd waited a week for him to respond to a support ticket, and I thought maybe I read read this wrong. I thought he had, respond within 2 days, whatever. And then I got this response, and it said that this person had been in the hospital. It was like That's
Right.
a really reasonable explanation for why I didn't hear from him for a week. I mean, I said, "Hey, my support ticket is not important." You know what I mean? His health is way more important than whatever this was I was asking. I can wait till
Right.
whenever.
And
But I
that is
mean,
going to happen way more than it ever used
mm,
to. And so we have to give people the benefit of the doubt. It is unwise to be blasting someone online if you don't know the story. You don't know
right.
that something happened to them. They're in the hospital. They died.
Hmm.
Their family member that was really close to them died, right? You never know. And so it's unwise to say bad things about people. Wow, is it pouring?
We had that mutual friend, Gerald Weber.
Uh huh.
His death really surprised me. I mean, it was like he was there and then he
Right.
was no longer with
Yeah. And
us.
people
He
do
was,
die suddenly often. Well, I
oh,
hate to do this to you, but it is pouring rain and I have all the windows open.
ooh,
And I
ooh.
kind of feel like my internet is not going to keep working.
Well, I think we
And
covered the
so,
basics here. And thank you, Gail, for all your input. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And we will see you same place, same time next week. And I will play our music. Gail, will you head out to close your windows? Thank you.
all right. Thank you.